Joseph the Dreamer. The story that changed the destiny of a generation. Not every great story begins with the hero. Sometimes, it starts with the scars left by previous generations. Before Joseph ever dreamed, choices had been made, mistakes committed, and paths paved by those who came before him. To truly understand the depth of his journey, we must look back in time. It all began long before Joseph was born. His father, Jacob, was a man marked by family conflict. He deceived his brother Esau, stealing his blessing, and had to flee for his life. During his exile, he arrived at the house of his uncle Laban, where he met Rachel, and immediately fell in love. To marry her, Jacob agreed to work 7 years. Those years felt like days to him, so great was his love. But on the wedding night, he was deceived. Laban, following local customs, gave him Leah, the older daughter. When Jacob realized the trick, he confronted Laban, who offered Rachel as well, on the condition of another 7 years of labor. And so began a divided household. Jacob loved Rachel deeply, sparking jealousy and rivalry. Though Leah was unloved, she bore Jacob his first sons. Then came the children of their servants, as both women competed for affection and status. Rachel, however, remained barren. She wept, she suffered, she felt humiliated. But one day God heard her cry. She conceived and gave birth to Joseph. His name meant God adds. But for Jacob, Joseph was more than just a son. He was the child of the woman he loved most. Joseph grew up surrounded by affection, a love that became too obvious. This favoritism stirred tension among his brothers. While they worked the fields, Joseph was spared. Jacob even gave him a richly ornamented robe, a symbol of honor and leadership. It shouted, "This is my chosen one." The brothers resented him. Then something even more mysterious happened. Joseph began to dream. In one dream, his brother's sheaves of grain bowed to his. In another, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed before him. Innocently, Joseph shared these dreams with his family. Jacob pondered the meaning, but his brothers were enraged. Who did he think he was? One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers in the fields. After a long journey, he found them. When they saw him from a distance, they said, "Here comes the dreamer." In the heat of the desert, with hearts full of envy, they plotted to kill him. Reuben, the eldest, tried to intervene. He suggested throwing him into a dry well, hoping to rescue him later. But while he was away, a caravan of merchants passed by on their way to Egypt. The brothers sold Joseph as a slave, then dipped his robe in animal blood and brought it back to their father. Jacob was devastated. He tore his clothes and mourned uncontrollably. Meanwhile, Joseph was taken to Egypt in chains, confused and heartbroken. Just a young dreamer, now treated like property. He was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Even in pain, Joseph remained faithful and served with excellence. Potiphar noticed his integrity and placed him in charge of his household. Everything flourished under Joseph's care. But another trial arose. Potiphar's wife began to seduce him. Joseph resisted. He fled. Until one day, she falsely accused him. Without a chance to defend himself, he was thrown into prison. Once again, Joseph suffered for doing what was right. But even there, he kept his faith. God was with him. He gained the trust of the prison warden and was given responsibility over the other inmates. There he met Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, both troubled by dreams. Joseph interpreted them with divine insight. The baker would die, the cupbearer would be restored, and so it happened. Joseph asked the cupbearer, "Remember me when you're free." But the man forgot. 2 more years passed, forgotten by men, but remembered by God. Then Pharaoh had a dream. 7 fat cows devoured by 7 thin ones. 7 full ears of grain consumed by withered ones. No one could interpret it. That's when the cupbearer finally remembered Joseph. He was summoned quickly, cleaned up, and brought before the king. Standing before Pharaoh, Joseph humbly said, "It is not in me, but God will give the answer." He explained, 7 years of abundance would be followed by 7 years of famine, and he advised, "Store food during the good years to survive the hard ones." Pharaoh was amazed. Is there anyone like him, in whom is the Spirit of God? He made Joseph governor of Egypt. In a single day, the slave became the second most powerful man in the land. Joseph was 30 years old. For 13 years he had waited for this moment. During the years of abundance, Joseph prepared, building storehouses, gathering grain. When famine came, Egypt was ready. People from all nations came to buy food, including Joseph's brothers. They bowed before him, not knowing who he was. The dream was becoming reality. But Joseph didn't reveal himself immediately. He tested their hearts, watched their actions. He needed to know if they had changed. When he saw true repentance, he couldn't hold back. He wept loudly, sent everyone out, and said, "I am Joseph, your brother." His brothers were terrified. But Joseph reassured them, "Do not be afraid. What you meant for evil, God turned for good. He sent me ahead to save many lives." Instead of revenge, he chose forgiveness. He sent for Jacob and the whole family. Their reunion was emotional. An aged Jacob wept to see his son alive. Joseph brought them to the land of Goshen, where they lived in peace. Joseph cared for them all until the end of his life. He was more than a dreamer. He was a vessel of God. His story teaches us that true dreams are forged through trials, dark valleys, silence, and waiting. But every tear, every loss, is part of a greater plan. Maybe you feel like you're in a pit today, forgotten, mistreated. But if the dream is from God, so is the process. He hasn't forgotten you. It may seem slow, but he is shaping something eternal. Joseph's dream wasn't just about his own glory. It was about a generation. He saved nations, healed family wounds, and fulfilled his divine calling. Don't give up. Stay faithful. The God who promised is faithful to fulfill. If this message touched your heart, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and share with someone who needs to hear this. May God bless you. Stay in peace.